The sound of the chair crashing against the floor echoed through the classroom like a gunshot. "Get out!" The teacher's voice cracked with frustration, her hand trembling as she pointed toward the door. The boy didn't move, he just stood there, his expression blank, almost empty, like none of this was new to him. Because it wasn't. "Did you hear me, Liam?" she snapped out. A few students snickered, others exchanged looks, some didn't even bother reacting anymore. Because this scene, was routine. Liam Carter, the worst student in the entire school. The millionaire's son who didn't care. Didn't try, didn't listen, didn't belong, or at least, that's what everyone believed. Have you ever been judged so many times, that people stopped seeing who you really are? Liam slowly picked up his bag. No anger, no apology, just silence, and that silence, said more than any argument ever could. He walked out. The door slammed shut behind him. Inside, the class resumed. Outside, the hallway stretched long and empty. Cold, quiet, like a place meant for people who didn't fit anywhere else. Liam leaned against the wall, staring at nothing. His jaw tightened slightly, but his eyes, they didn't show rage, they showed something else, something deeper, something hidden, pain, the kind that doesn't scream, the kind that stays buried. Have you ever looked fine on the outside, but felt completely broken inside? Footsteps echoed down the hallway. Slow, steady, a woman pushing a cleaning cart stopped a few feet away. She had been watching, not judging, just observing. Her name was Maria, the school cleaner, invisible to most, ignored by many, but not blind, never blind. "You got kicked out again," she said softly. Liam didn't respond, he didn't even look at her. Because people who try to talk, usually don't stay long enough to understand. Maria didn't push, she leaned lightly on her cart. "You know," she continued, "people don't get this angry without a reason." That made him react, just slightly, a flicker. His eyes shifted toward her. For a second, then away again. "I don't care," he muttered. Maria smiled faintly. That's what everyone says when they care too much. Silence, heavy, but not uncomfortable, different. Liam frowned slightly. "Why do you even care?" he asked. Maria shrugged gently. "Because I've seen this before." A pause. Then, "And it never ends well if no one steps in." Liam laughed, a short, bitter sound. "Yeah, and what are you going to do?" he asked. "Clean my problems away." The words were sharp, defensive, but Maria didn't react, because she understood something important. Hurt people push others away. "I can't fix your problems," she said calmly. "But I can understand them." That word, understand, hit something, small, but real. Have you ever wanted someone to understand you, but didn't know how to let them? Liam looked at her again. Longer this time, studying her, trying to figure out why she wasn't reacting like everyone else. "Everyone thinks I'm a joke," he said quietly. Maria nodded. "I know." That surprised him. "You do?" he asked. She smiled slightly. "I hear things," she said. "People talk more than they think." Liam looked down. His hands clenched slightly. "They think I'm stupid," he added. Maria didn't respond immediately. Instead, she asked something unexpected. "Can you read that?" she said, pointing to a notice board across the hall. Liam hesitated, just for a second. Then, "I don't feel like it," he said quickly. Too quickly, Maria noticed. Because sometimes, what people avoid, reveals more than what they say. Have you ever avoided something, not because you didn't want to do it, but because you were afraid you couldn't? Maria's expression softened, but she didn't push further. "Not yet." "All right," she said, "maybe another time." She began to move her cart again. Slowly, but before she left, she said something that stayed behind. "You're not what they think you are." Liam froze. His breath caught slightly, but he didn't turn, because if he did, something inside him might break. And he wasn't ready for that. Not here, not now. Days passed, nothing changed, or at least, that's what everyone thought. Liam kept failing, kept getting into trouble, kept being labeled lazy, disrespectful, hopeless. Even his father, a powerful millionaire, had stopped trying. "He's wasting his life," he had said once, cold and distant. "I've given him everything, and he still chooses to fail." But what if failure wasn't a choice? Have you ever been blamed for something you didn't even understand yourself? One afternoon, after school, Liam sat alone in the empty classroom. The sunlight filtered through the windows, casting long shadows across the desks. The room felt quiet, too quiet. Maria entered slowly, pushing her cart. She noticed him immediately. Still there. Still silent. You didn't go home? She asked. He shook his head. Didn't feel like it. She nodded. Then, without asking, she sat down across from him. Not as a cleaner. Not as staff. Just as a person. Tell me something, she said gently. Liam didn't respond, but he didn't leave either. That board earlier, she continued. Why didn't you read it? Liam's jaw tightened. I said I didn't feel like it. Maria leaned slightly forward, and I said, I've seen this before. Silence. Then, do letters move for you? The question hit like lightning. Liam's head snapped up. His eyes widened slightly. How do you know that? He asked. Maria didn't smile this time. Because now, this wasn't casual anymore. This was truth. Because the worst student in school wasn't failing because he didn't care. He was failing because he couldn't read properly. And no one, not teachers, not classmates, not even his own father, had ever seen it, until now. Maria looked at him gently. Because, she said quietly, you're not the first child I've seen struggle like this. The room went completely still. Because in that moment, everything changed. Not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply. Because now, for the first time, someone had seen the truth behind his failure. And what came next would shock everyone. Liam didn't speak. He just stared at Maria, his chest rising and falling a little faster now, like something inside him had been exposed, something he had spent years trying to hide. For a moment, the silence between them felt fragile, like one wrong word could shatter everything. What did you just say? He asked, his voice lower now, careful, almost defensive. Maria didn't look away. I asked if the letters move, she repeated softly. Liam swallowed. His fingers curled slightly against the edge of the desk. You don't know anything, he muttered, but the strength behind his words was gone. Maria nodded slowly. You're right, she said. I don't know everything. A pause. But I know enough to recognize when someone is pretending not to care, because they're afraid of failing. The words landed, not like an attack, like truth. And truth, when it finally reaches the right place, doesn't make noise. It makes cracks. Have you ever spent so long hiding something, that when someone finally sees it, you don't know whether to run or finally breathe? Liam looked away. His eyes landed on a book sitting on the desk nearby. A simple textbook, but to him, it might as well have been a wall. They don't just move, he said quietly, his voice barely audible. They mix up, flip, disappear. Maria didn't interrupt. They laugh when I read, he continued. So I stopped trying. There it was. Not laziness. Not rebellion. Pain. Humiliation. Years of it. Maria's heart tightened, but she didn't show it. Because this moment wasn't about her feelings. It was about his truth. Does your father know? She asked gently. Liam shook his head immediately. No. Why not? His jaw clenched. Because he doesn't have time for problems, he said. Only results. The words were sharp, but behind them was disappointment. Deep. Heavy. Have you ever wanted someone's approval so badly, that you'd rather fail silently than admit you're struggling? Maria nodded slowly. I understand, she said. Liam let out a quiet breath. For the first time, it felt like someone actually did. So what now? He asked after a moment. You're going to tell the school. Tell my father. Maria shook her head. No, she said. That surprised him. Then what? He asked. Maria leaned back slightly, her voice calm but steady. I'm going to help you. Liam blinked, confused. How? He asked. You're a cleaner. The words slipped out before he could stop them. But Maria didn't react with offense. Instead, she smiled gently. Before I was a cleaner, she said, I was a teacher. Liam froze. What? I taught children who struggled with reading, she continued. Children just like you. The room felt different now. Not like a classroom, not like a place of failure. But like something else. Possibility. You're lying, Liam said, but his voice wasn't as certain as before. Maria reached into her bag and pulled out an old, worn notebook. Inside were exercises, notes, handwritten guides, years of experience. I never stopped teaching, she said softly. I just stopped doing it in front of a classroom. Liam stared at the pages. Then back at her. Why would you help me? He asked. Maria's expression softened. Because someone once helped me when no one else did, she said. A familiar answer. But this time, it felt personal, real. Liam hesitated, then asked the question he had been afraid to ask his entire life. What if I can't fix it? Maria leaned forward slightly. her voice firm now. "You're not broken," she said. A pause. "You were just never understood." Something inside Liam shifted, not fully, but enough. Enough to try, and sometimes, trying is the hardest part. Days turned into weeks. After school, while the halls emptied and the lights dimmed, Liam stayed behind. Not for punishment, but for something else, learning. Maria sat across from him, guiding him patiently. Letter by letter, word by word, no pressure, no judgment, just patience. The first time Liam read a full sentence without stopping, he froze. His eyes widened slightly. "I did it," he whispered. Maria smiled. "Yes," she said, "you did." Have you ever experienced a small victory that felt bigger than anything else? Because for Liam, this wasn't small, this was everything, but not everyone knows.